Airbox is dead. Airbox is dead.
Dreamcast guy here. And today we're going to talk about that
Here we go
very
again with this
controversial interview that just happened last night with Phil Spencer on the Xbox Era podcast. Because the head of Xbox has just straight up said a lot of stuff that people are kind of chewing apart, saying things like, we don't care if you buy an Xbox.
Yeah, why would Microsoft care if you buy an Xbox if you're proceeding to give them your money for the games that they're providing for you? See, this is what you don't understand. I find it so funny that these PlayStation fanboys want to sit there and act as if we bought the PS5 for exclusives while those games are flopping and failing, but instead you are buying the competitors' games on your own platform, and then you guys want to sit there and act like, well, Sony's still getting money off that 30%. But it's still not 70. So what are we doing, man? I mean, it's getting to the point where you console fanboys are getting this petty that it really matters as to where you play your games on. Nobody cares, man. Because at the end of the day, PlayStation is doing the same thing. And what's even more laughable, I can't wait for the Switch 2 to come out. And you guys will see that Sony is also planning on putting their games on the Nintendo Switch 2. So what are you guys gonna do? Oh, it's still a console exclusive because the Switch ain't nothing but a portable screen. Bro, I can't wait. I mean, I hope you guys got your excuses ready because it's happening. You know, these companies don't care, man. With how high these budgets are becoming, they need to make their money. How hard is it for you people to understand with these $400, $500 million games that they have to make money on the things that they're investing on?
Trying to win people over to Xbox. We're going to start putting the PlayStation logo into every trailer, whether it is on the Xbox YouTube channel or during a Summer Games Fest or E3. We just want you to buy games.
Yeah, I mean, ain't that the whole purpose of gaming? To support the gaming industry? And you guys act as if this is a bad thing? I mean, maybe if Sony did the same thing, we wouldn't be hearing things like 10 live service and subscription games being canceled, Resistance 4 being canned. Maybe we wouldn't be hearing about these things from Sony if maybe they went and engaged in this whole quote-unquote multi-platform, right? But no. But Sony don't want to do that, and what I find it so laughable is the fact that ain't none of you guys talking about Lost Souls aside, even though that game's dropping day on PC. Well, guess what, guys? I guess I don't need a Sony. I guess I don't need a PlayStation. If I could just buy the game on PC and play it there, why would Sony put their own intellectual property on a platform they don't even own? Because they're making money.
Now, to me, I saw this coming. Everybody's been talking about this now for the last half decade. It did seem like at some point Xbox was going to go fully third party.
Here we go, man. I mean, at this point, we're just making terms up, bro. I mean, when did Pony start using console exclusive? Because I remember when Xbox One owners did, and they sat there and told them that those games weren't exclusive because they were on PC. And now they out here using the same term that Xbox dudes did during that generation. Oh, it's a console exclusive. Now ponies don't even care if the games go to PC. Like, what's changed with you guys? See, this is what I find is so funny is that you guys want to throw people into this little fake wannabe console war when rational adults like myself really don't care. We're just here to play games, man. And as if you notice, Microsoft with this new strategy has been providing more games than they have ever had. So do you think I really care if there's games that I'm looking forward to and Microsoft is making them, no matter which platform they decide to put it on? Do you think I care as a gamer? Because before you guys said that Xbox had no games with this whole quote-unquote console exclusive strategy, which in my personal opinion wasn't working. It's not even working for Sony. That's why Astro Bot can't outsell 2 million. If people bought the PlayStation 5 for exclusives, then explain to me as to why these games are failing on your own platform.
But now that it's finally happening, it's strange to actually look at the math. Like, just this year, there are more Xbox games coming to PlayStation than there are PlayStation games.
And you guys don't think that's baffling. I mean, the funny thing is Death Stranding 2 is not made by them. The only games that they're developing is Yote, Lost Souls, Days Gone, and MLB. Which is funny because MLB is also on Xbox. What are we doing here? Days Gone is on PC. Lost Soul aside is also on PS5, PC. Yote, more likely PS5, but it probably will drop on PC. Death Stranding 2, very similar. So what are we doing, bro? You guys want to sit there and act like these are exclusives, But what exclusives does Sony really have? Because if you take a lot of these second, third-party deals, Sony only really has MLB, which is also on Xbox, and Yote. That's really it. And Lost Soul Aside, which is made by another studio that they work with, no different than Stellar Blade. So what is PlayStation really doing?
To PlayStation. So let's talk about the core.
I mean, at this point, PlayStation 5 owners don't want to admit that you guys have just became an over-glorified Xbox. Because now PlayStation gamers are going to start playing more Xbox games than Sony's titles. But what I don't get is the fact that you said Xbox has no games, but then you go as far to say that Xbox, and you know what's even more fun? He didn't even put Avowed. There's a few games that you missed out on that list of Xbox games. That's how you know Microsoft is single-handedly beating the PlayStation 5 when it comes out to game output 5-1. Because, I mean, look at this, bro. It's getting to the point where it's laughable. Microsoft is making way more games than Sony. I don't even think I've seen Nintendo make this many games.
We wanted to do it, but the assets weren't done. The timing wasn't fully properly done. But at this point, we just want to make sure there isn't confusion about our products.
Yeah, like Sony. Confusing their audience as if they got exclusives when we all know all their games are inevitably going to drop on PC.
We want to be fully transparent.
Oh, Sony only doing PC with live service and subscription games, then explain as to why Lost Soul Aside is dropping on PC and PS5 on the same date. Also explain as to why Final Fantasy 16 and Rebirth are going to be dropping on Xbox. Games that Sony helped co-develop with for Square Enix are going to be dropping on Xbox. But I find it so funny. They don't want to talk about that, but they want to talk about the Xbox games going to PlayStation. But they never want to talk about the PlayStation games going to Xbox. It's the hypocrisy. Oh, Sony don't own 16 now. Now they're going to sit there and point the finger and blame it on Squaresoft, even though these ponies were sitting there telling you that it was exclusive. Oh, no, Sony helped funded that game. So when you sit there and say, oh, Sony, they're not being as trans, it's really just PlayStation. They're not sitting there telling you the truth. I mean, I can respect Microsoft because at least with them, they're letting you know, hey, these games are going everywhere. We're going to do what we want to do. I mean, if the games have a great quality and people want to play it and we need to make money, that's what we're going to do. So Microsoft is being honest as to what they're doing, while Sony is not. I think at first when they were trying to play around the words, I really think Microsoft was just trying to save face now, but I kind of prefer this. Be open-minded. Let the consumers know as to what you're doing. Because that's not what PlayStation ain't even letting you know if Wolverine even got canceled at this point. I mean, considering that state of play.
If it's coming to Nintendo Switch or Switch 2,
they coming.
We'll just say, hey, put in the trailer, let them buy it.
And PlayStation will be putting games on the Nintendo Switch to watch. I just can't wait for the excuses of what these ponies are going to sit there and say, oh, when they old game, go, they lower budget. I can't wait. I can't wait for the excuses, man. The Switch 2 need to come out, man, so I can sit there and laugh at every single one of you that I keep arguing this exclusivity crap.
It's coming to Steam. It's coming to PlayStation. Let people know so they can buy it. And
which is funny because don't PlayStation games get ported to Steam, but yet y'all sit there and still say that they're exclusive? What? What do you mean?
Even this has people kind of just scratching their heads. The idea of Xbox coming out and saying, buy it on the PlayStation 5 Pro. Play the best version of it on PlayStation. So you'll have
the best versions on PC.
Adaptive triggers and stuff. It's just weird about the idea of Xbox advertising a game on PlayStation.
Why would that be weird? Sega did the same thing by putting their games on other platforms. I mean, what are we doing here? I mean, PlayStation did the same thing with Twisted Metal back on the PC. Look it up. Y'all want to sit there and act as if these things are weird, but these things have been single-handedly going on behind the scenes. I could pick up a few cases of where Sony and Microsoft engaged in this. And is this what we're going to do to hold these companies accountable? Because at the end of the day, y'all still looking forward to Lost Souls Aside. So that game's on PC. So I guess I don't need a PlayStation. I don't need a Pony Station 5 to play it. Right? What are we doing, man? You guys are just not playing games, man. You guys have an identity crisis. The platform is what creates your own identity when it's really the games that you play is what helps create the type of gamer that you are. Not the platform you play on. The games that you play. It's so crazy that you guys are so attached to a gaming console and you don't even know the reason as to why you even attached to it in the first place.
In fact, there's what a lot of people in the comments are talking about. 14-year-old me who was on...
Keyword, 14-year-old me. and now you guys are 50 and you're still doing the same stuff.
Dude, in the console wars, would not believe it. Tell me during the PlayStation 3 era that in 18 years this was a thing, and I'd throw my half-drank can of Monster at you. And I like we're talking about this. I really want to know what happened in that Game Pass has, in a way, kind of shot them in the foot. Because
how so?
The goal was always to have
no. Explain.
Steady growth. You know?
No. Okay. That's not true. Because that's like saying, I mean, of course, if they can grow people, why not? If something can get bigger, then why not, right? I'm not going to sit there and tell you that's not what a company wants to do. I think we all strive to want to do better in life. I mean, that's just the human way. But that's like saying, oh, because Netflix, let's say hypothetically, has 100 million users on their subscription service, but they really want 600 million. They only got 100. Netflix is a failure. I mean, is it really? You got 600 million and 100 million. You're still making your money. Like, I just don't get this, man. It's just like people, they put so much attachment into the number. I was laughing when one guy put in my comment section, he's like, well, this song sold 70 million and that song sold 40 million. Therefore, the song that sold 40 million didn't do well. They didn't do as well, but they still made money. What are we doing here, man? You guys are so caught up in the numbers to the point where it's like y'all acting like they're not making money. Yes, they PlayStation, they got way more users. They're making more money based off that. But Microsoft is indeed making a lot of money off Game Pass. You'll be a fool to not think that.
So getting subscribers, constantly have extra growth. If the Game Pass numbers were always growing, even 5%.
No, if the Game Pass members keep subscribing and still paying for it, let it be 29 to 50 million, Microsoft is getting that money every month. You're acting as if 29 million unsubscribe from Game Pass and they're not using it. That is a huge difference. 2
years, 7%, 3%. As long as it kept going up, it was like, okay, we have this snowball that will eventually break to the profitable region. But now they're at a spot where it's like, okay, we spent $100 billion on acquisitions, counting stuff like Activision Blizzard, counting Bethesda. All these buyouts were good, but none of these have really skyrocketed the Game Pass numbers. Like, consider Call of Duty. Call of Duty went day one to Game Pass. They increased the price of Game Pass. Nobody did. Everybody was like, I'll still just buy it.
The only ones that bought it were the ones that didn't have access to it on Game Pass. See, there you go. That's the benefit. The ones that had to pay for it are the ones that couldn't play it through a subscription service. PlayStation, PC, you guys had no other option. Well, PC actually no. But PlayStation, most definitely, y'all had no other option but to buy this game. Y'all know this. Why are we capping this hard, bro?
I think this is when the people at the top of Xbox, including Phil Spencer, just said, all right, we have to sell these games. We have to sell these games. Game Pass is not working. We'd rather get $70 from someplace else.
Nah, that's not true because Microsoft makes more money in 3 months of $20 of Game Pass Ultimate than if you just bought the game for $70. What are you talking about, bro? You see how I broke that down? 3 months of Game Pass, 20, right? 60, what about 4? Right, if we want to count, because I forgot games are 70 now. So 4 months. 4 months of Game Pass Ultimate, and there you go. And on top of that, you don't even own the game. What are you talking about? And Call of Duty is an online-only game anyway, so you have to pay for online to play it. So we can't sit there and use that argument. Well, it's better on Sony because I pay the $70, right? And then I pay for the game, for the subscription. You're actually wasting more money. Because on top of that, you have less access to games, you have less games to play, and you're still paying for subscription service to access the one Call of Duty game that you like to play. Unlike Xbox, where they have it through the subscription service of something they're already paying for, and then they have the option to be able to play something else if they choose or they want to. How are you guys acting like this is a good thing for PlayStation?
In fact, he straight up said this. Okay, we're not trying to move PlayStation... This is Psycho, I'm sorry. Phil Spencer, we're not trying to move PlayStation and Nintendo players over to Xbox anymore.
Why would they?
That is so defeated, it sounds so bizarre that it's an actual quote. Let's just allow more people to play games. And yes, the 70% we make on games on other platforms is helpful to us.
Yeah, of course.
Now, people have been thinking about this a lot, which is that whenever you sell a game on another platform, if you take something and you put it...
It's so funny how PlayStation gamers are acting as if this is a benefit to them. Oh, getting 30% on PlayStation is more beneficial to them than Microsoft getting 70%, when clearly 70% is more than 30%. Like, I find it so funny how ponies always try to find ways to act as if it's a negative, when in reality, it's a positive towards Microsoft. You guys go out there, you're supporting, you're buying these games over your own titles. That's why we're not hearing about PlayStation bringing out their own titles, because y'all, one, y'all not going to buy them, and two, you got Microsoft competing with you in your own console storefront at this point.
Xbox or PlayStation or Steam or Nintendo, when it sells, the platform holder takes a 30% cut. So, Avowed, currently it's an Xbox exclusive. It's probably coming to PlayStation at one point. If you bought the $100 special edition,
which you did,
that on PlayStation, they would get $70 for it. PlayStation gets $30, and they're like, we would rather have that money than not have that money.
Yeah, like Sony not getting the money for their games, like Concord, Until Dawn Remake. Let's talk about the games that PlayStation hasn't even broke even on. Let's talk about those games. Because nobody wants to... let's talk about all the money that they spent on 10 live service and subscription games just for them to be canceled. Let's talk about how Resistance 4 got canned. Let's talk about how Days Gone 2 got canned. If Sony was doing as good as you guys claim they were doing, then why aren't we seeing sequels to a lot of our favorite games? Why is Astrobot only selling 1 million? Why is Stellar Blade only selling 1 million? You have to ask yourself. So you're trying to tell me out of the 75 million people that picked up a PS5, only 1 million out of that 74 people that picked up the PS5 bought that exclusive game for your platform? And then you guys wonder as to why Sony's putting games on PC. If I was PlayStation, I'd be putting games on PC. But then they go as far, oh, look at that, the games are failing on PC. That means Sony's not going to put... Bro, I'm going to tell you this right now. If PlayStation games are failing on PC... all that means is that Sony's going to be like, they're going to double down on that strategy and say, no, we're going to put them on PC, but we might want to put them on Switch too. This is what you don't understand. You think, oh, Sony's going to go back, they're going to bring back the old days and, they're going to start putting games for us. Bro, they're not even making money off you already. What are you talking about? That's why they expanded to PC. If they were making enough money, like Nintendo, off their own audience, do you think they would even think about expanding the growth of their own games? No, because they're already making enough money off you. The reason as to why they doing it, because they know you people don't buy games. You guys buy very specific ones. You buy third party, not exclusives.
I've noticed people thinking these things as this. Colin Moriarty just published this 20... Xbox has hit a point where they just need to get at least good enough that they're not closing down studios, that they're not mass firing people or not even selling stuff, even if they did.
What do you mean? Because Sony has 75 million consoles and yet ain't none of them buying even your own games. But instead, they're out here buying Xbox titles as if that's going to make us feel, oh, it makes us feel hurt that y'all buying Gears of War Ultimate Edition for $40, $50 when I already have access to the game. Like, you're not hurting anybody. If anything, you're just hurting the financial stability of your own platform. That's why Sony ain't making you no games, because they're not going to waste the time. And with Microsoft coming in there and saving the day, by all means, it's only helping. It's kind of helping both of them. Microsoft putting games on there gives people a reason to subscribe to PlayStation Plus, and Microsoft is getting a huge cut. They all benefiting. But y'all want to sit there and act like there's a console war going on. There is no console war going on in here, bruh. That is something that you guys have physically made up in your mind as 40 to 50-year-old men, because you want to feel as if you're important in this little gaming landscape. Because if you was important, they would be listening to you. If you was important, they'd be listening to you about Resistance 4 and all these games. They're clearly not listening to you. Because if PlayStation really cared about you, they would have still came out with these games regardless. Oh, we got to come out with Resistance 4. The game might fail, but we know our fans will love it. They don't care about you. What are they doing? Sony rather say, well, we're not going to make anything. We'll just let Xbox carry us this whole generation and we'll get ready for the PlayStation 6. Microsoft says, you know what? This is a good way to push our games to a new audience without having to make drastic measures. Let's do it. It's a win-win situation for everybody, but it's a lose-lose situation for Sony, considering that Sony is losing the identity of their own games. That's what y'all don't get. The days of picking up a PlayStation, well, it's never been like that, but the days for those people of picking up a PlayStation to play the Uncharted and the exclusive games that you know and love is coming to an end. That's what it is. And it's going to be taken over by Xbox. Their storefront is going to literally be Xbox games only. Then you have to question yourself and say, dang, I said Xbox games was trash on Xbox, but yet I'm playing them on PlayStation because PlayStation ain't offering you nothing.
Take a studio and start selling it to somebody else. I think they're at a point where Xbox Game Studios is like, okay, we have a lot of stuff that's 90% done. We're about to be doing the advertising. We don't want to just sell 1% on Game Pass. We want...
What do you mean 1% on Game Pass? A person that owns an Xbox doesn't have to buy any games. But you guys act like Microsoft ain't getting no money. Like, you guys act like Game Pass Ultimate is free. Like, that's what I don't get.
99% everywhere else. Oh, God. It was a great run for Xbox. At least the Xbox 360 was amazing. Excellent idea. Some clarity.
I can't wait for PlayStation, man. I can't wait for PlayStation with the Nintendo Switch 2, man. And remember, I said it first. I said it. Nintendo, I'm telling y'all right now, man, PlayStation is going to put games on the Switch too. So I'm letting you know. I don't know what side you ponies want to be on, but I'm letting you know right now. You can laugh now, but you're going to be crying later. Because at the end of the day, y'all going to find another new term to say, well, it's still a console exclusive because the Switch is not a console, it's a portable. I can't wait for the new excuses. I'm letting y'all know right now that I'm saying these things, so whoever tries to take my credit, you let them know, nah, Gamester told me first. He stayed strong in what he said. But we already know they're going to argue with me regardless, even though the proof is right in front of you. You think these companies care about your feelings? They care about the money that they're making. And unfortunately, they're not making it on PlayStation. If you guys want to sit there and masquerade and act like Fortnite, Call of Duty doing well on your console is good enough to justify the PS5, well, by all means, that's fine. But these games, let's not forget, though, these games are available on every device. So what you're doing is counterintuitive.
To make what are becoming financial choices welcome, well, as long as it's consumer friendly, we have no complaints. It's interesting that a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, a lot of people are making cuck memes as well, but it's interesting.
Is it really that serious, bro? Cuck memes coming from you, Mr. Overwrite Another Man's save file. What are you talking about, bro? You're the last person that should be talking about this, bro. What do you mean? You talking about Microsoft going third party? You went third party even in your own life, bro. What are you talking about? Oh, everybody's third party, and yet every relationship he's been in ain't been nothing but a third party. A third wheel is all you is, bro. What are you doing? Maybe you need to consult yourself and look yourself in the mirror and say, man, what am I doing as a man? Like, I'm being honest. This is facts. Let's hear it again.
As long as it's consumer friendly, we have no complaints. It's interesting that a lot of people are like, oh, okay, well, a lot of people are making cuck memes as well, but it's interesting that...
all this over a piece of plastic. But yet y'all look yourself in the mirror, y'all have families, and this is what y'all do. You know what I'm saying? This is what y'all do. Y'all want to sit there and fanboy about stuff that you already know is inevitable. PlayStation is going to do the same thing as Xbox, bro. I'm telling you. And the first thing y'all going to sit there and say, well, it's on Switch, but it still ain't on Xbox. Oh, here we go. I already have all the excuses already that you guys are going to come up with, man. I already have it. I already know, man. Keep being delusional. Keep thinking that Sony cares about you, because I'm telling you right now, they don't.
Stuff like this. So, like,
grown man,
third-party publisher, at least he's saying it now.
Talking about third party, but yet they third party in their own relationships.
Trying to take the Band-Aid off slowly. This will still praise Xbox while Microsoft Gaming goes forward. Will include timed exclusive from their stable of studios, new and old. Now, this is what I saw people kind of kicking around an Xbox Series S. They'll want to be there day and date so they don't have to wait 6 months for that next exclusive, right? So it seems like that wasn't the strategy whatsoever. It sounds like they basically just internally last year decided, every game needs to come to PlayStation 5, and now they've
Nintendo.
It's just been working on those ports, working on that development, working on, okay, how do we make this actually happen? Like, look at this. Microsoft is releasing more games on PS5 this year than Sony. Forza, Indiana Jones, which is fantastic. The new Doom looks fantastic. Outer Worlds 2 looks fantastic. Ninja Gaiden 4 looks fantastic. Death Stranding, Ghost of Yotei, Lost Soulside, Days Gone Remastered. I don't think that even counts. MLB The Show.
Which is funny because that's on Xbox.
Midnight Murder Club. Look, man, I'm going to be a hater.
Oh, what about Baby Steps? You forgot mine.
This doesn't feel like a game. This doesn't feel like a game. I feel like it's crazy to me that Xbox is making so many really, really good games.
Oh, they're good now. Because before, when they went on Xbox One, they weren't good. They weren't good because us ponies couldn't play them. PC gamers said they liked them. Oh, they weren't good. It's so funny how now all of a sudden, and it's funny how you don't have a void there, even though you said you played it and did a whole honest review on it. Now all of a sudden, you guys want to sit there and say, oh, Xbox got good games now. You guys have exposed yourself out of the past 20 years of this quote-unquote garbage console. Y'all just exposed yourself. Xbox has always had great games. You just didn't want to pick up the platform due to your own PlayStation pride.
On PlayStation. And I think this is the reason why. PlayStation just had the most players ever in December. 129 million people logged into PlayStation.
And ain't none of them played exclusives.
During that month. An increase of 5% year over year. 129 million players. Now, you could say, okay, some of those people are playing free-to-play stuff. Some of those people may be playing on a PlayStation Vita.
But they definitely ain't playing no Vita.
The point is the fact that the PlayStation ecosystem is so freaking dominant. I feel like I'm coming to a spot where...
It's so dominant, that's why they had their servers cut due to some guy dropping coffee on a computer.
I'm curious to see what the next bits of hardware that, let's face it, nobody's going to buy. I'm kind of curious what would happen if we had the PS5 for 10 years. If Sony just kept making them cheaper and cheaper and cheaper.
Yeah, but what about the games, bro? What about the PlayStation games?
Making more and more budget models. Get a PlayStation 5 down to the cost of $200.
Because at the end of the day, if this is how y'all want to look at it, and PlayStation is not offering anything, and Microsoft's third party while also managing their own console, then that means the best place to still play these games is on Xbox because you're still getting it through the servers. Now, the only reason is if this would be detrimental if Sony was actually doing something. You get what I'm saying? If Sony was dropping Marvel Spider-Man 3s and Last of Us Part 3s and Last of Us multiplayer, then at that point, then you can sit there and make the argument, what is the point of it? There's still a point to an Xbox, but I'm just saying, then you can make the point of why people should pick up a PS5 over an Xbox or whatever the argument y'all want to bring up. But to sit there and tell people that the PS5 is far better than the Xbox when you're getting a lot of last-gen games, Forza Horizon 5, which is fine, like I said, and you guys say full slate, but I type in Halo on PlayStation, it's nothing still pops up. So what are we doing here? At the end of the day, the best way to play these games is still on PC and Xbox, bar none. Do $20 a month, Ninja Gaiden 4, day and dates for games like Sniper Elite Resistance, including their own titles, all through one subscription service that we pay to play online anyway. While PlayStation, you have to buy the game for $70, then you have to pay a yearly membership to play said game. Like, come on, bro. Y'all just mad that Xbox gamers are getting the benefit of all this through a subscription service while y'all have to still pay for this, pay for that, and pay for everything else. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, man. Like I said, bro, according to these ponies, Xbox is dead.